How's it going, my lovely Death Disciples? I am the Shattered Reaper, and today we are going to be watching another replay of League of Legends, where I am going to be playing as, once again, Morgana. Lately, I've been playing a lot of Morgana, and she has basically been my main, where I have been playing as a support role more than I have as an AD carry. But yeah, I've just kind of been feeling like I need a little bit of a change, a little bit of a difference in scenery, so I've been playing a bit more support, and I have been playing as Morgana, who is my favorite support, and my support main, as I've probably mentioned plenty of times before. And I have to admit that for this match, this has probably been my most intense and most active match I've ever had to deal with. So, as you can tell, I go up to the jungle over here to try and assist Severe because there was a bit of a scuffle going on, but I thought Jinx was going to be over there, but as you saw earlier, she left the bush a bit of a while ago, but I didn't have vision there, so I didn't know. I just wanted to make sure if somebody was there that I would throw out my Q just to harass them a little bit, but yeah, it didn't happen. They weren't there. But we're here so that we could help Kha'Zix leash for his red buff, and we're just going to be waiting for it to happen, and our minions are currently working their way towards the conflict point, and before we get to trying to deal with that, luckily it's not something I have to necessarily worry about, but it is something for my AD carry to worry about, because after all, she's going to be the one farming, not necessarily me. But we get our leash finished, and we set down a ward so that we could get some vision in the river, and Severe is going to be focusing on making sure that she takes some farm. Now things start off a little bit odd, I'm going to let you know, because at the beginning of the match, well, just pay attention to what Jinx is going to be doing. It's going to be really weird, and yeah, I'm not exactly sure how I could best explain it without it sounding off. But basically right now, my whole idea is that I'm just going to make sure that while they're using their abilities, I make sure to just stand back and dodge whatever I can. And basically the point is that I just make some pokes and not really do anything involving the farm. If it happens by accident, it happens, but like, you know, I'm mostly going to be aiming for the heroes. I do get hit by Vel'Koz's ability there. I'm not sure what it's called, but Vel'Koz apparently does have plenty of wards to set down, so that's something. Severe is just making sure she, I don't know why I stood there, though, I will admit. I don't know why I was just standing there. I think there was a chat I was responding to, but that's probably something I should not be doing. I put down my shield so that I could help Severe and set down a, what is the W called in? Oops, I accidentally went to the edge of the screen. There we go. I accidentally sent out my I sent down my tormented shout to harass Jinx a little bit. She was able to get out, but that's because I missed my Q. I did not realize earlier that Kha'Zix was going after Jinx, and only when I did realize that I tried to help him, but he already took care of Jinx. And I came over here to realize that Vel'Koz was just staying in that bush, and so I harassed him, set down my QW combo, only for him to kind of get away. But hey, he got damaged quite a bit, so that works for me. Jinx kind of left the game there a little bit. Not really sure why that happened, but that's not going to be the only thing we're going to be questioning about Jinx here. But Severe is basically being able to take some farm without really having to worry about anything. Set out my Q for Vel'Koz and it hits, but I wasn't entirely in range to set out my Tormented Shadow because I would get hit by the tower if I did that. So that wasn't necessarily going to be a beneficial move, especially since I don't have my Tormented Shadow being at a very high level. I mean, it's decent for getting a little bit of extra damage, it's nice, but at the level it is right now, it's not very effective, so it's something that can't really be used effectively at the moment. I do send out my Tormented Shadow there, but as you can see, the turret does take a nice bit of health from me when I do set it out, and yeah. That's just kind of how it's all going. But meanwhile, Severe is just taking the farm, and I'm just sitting back, letting her do her thing. And we're just basically competing with Velcox, who we have a huge advantage over because Jinx is not really competing with us. Because she left. I damaged the turret, which gives me the 20 extra gold, if you remember from the tribute of my starter item, which is right here, the Spell Thief's Edge. It does offer me some extra gold, and the tribute gives me 20 gold every time I hit an enemy champion, or I damage an enemy building when I have an ally nearby. So, very nice, just very nice to have, really. And that's pretty much it. So, we kind of wonder at this point if Jinx has just left the game. But then, as you saw earlier right there, she actually reconnected, so we're not entirely sure what happened with that. But, the weirdness doesn't quite end there. It's just confusing, and, she plays weird at the beginning of the match, but then, it actually changes, which makes it even more confusing what it is that, Jinx was trying to do. It's just, we can't really explain it, but, you'll see in a moment once she gets into, once she gets, into fight. But, however, we are dealing with a Shaco over here who is trying to gank us, but, as you will see here, this is where Jinx does something really weird, and, it's just going right in front of the turret, she's gonna be doing that, getting a little bit deeper, and, here we get a nice gank against Jinx and Shaco, so we got both of them on the ropes. We did get Jinx first there, and then we have, Shaco trying to escape. He wasn't over there, so I did go the wrong way. However, Kha'Zix was able to get Shaco, and, that has that problem taken care of. However, Kha'Zix is caught between both Akali and Vel'Koz, and so is Veigar, so, we didn't pay attention to that part, unfortunately, and I did try to go after that, but, Akali does kill, Veigar first, and, that just kind of leaves, Kha'Zix and me here. Akali does eventually leave, and Vel'Koz is in his own lane, so me and Kha'Zix just decide to go ahead and, fight this Cloud Drake so we can get its, ultimate ability haste, or just ability haste, because with my build, it's very nice to have some extra ability haste. It's very nice, very useful, and I'm the one that gets the credit eventually for taking down the Cloud Drake for the final last hit, so, you know, works like a charm for me. Meanwhile, Severe does not really have a whole lot of trouble in dealing with the farm because Jinx has decided to go up to mid lane for some reason. But basically, Severe is having a nice hell of a time just being able to keep all of this farm all to herself, so it's a very nice time for her. Vel'Koz tried to use one of his knock-up abilities, but Severe has a Spell Shield ability, which prevents her from being hit with abilities, and it also works pretty well with my own ability, which is the Black Shield. Morgana grants an ally champion 100 magic shield for 5 seconds. This magic shield doesn't protect from all damage, it's just something that protects from magic damage. The shield prevents disabling and immobilizing effects until it breaks. So it's very useful to protect from abilities and from spells. So very nice combo we have in order to prevent from any support abilities or attacks or anything that could affect either of us really. But more specifically, it's more useful for Severe, because now she has 2 ways to be protected from magic, but of course only one of them is completely reliant on her partner, i.e. being me. So, so far we are making a nice heavy amount of pushes against the enemy turret in the bottom lane. Severe did take a hit from the enemy turret right there. But basically all we're doing right now is we're just trying to take as much gold and farm as we possibly can from this. And as you will probably have noticed, we did not really back a single time so far, and we are 9.5 minutes into this whole thing. I did get knocked up there, so I did get hit with Vel'Koz's passive, I think. I don't know what it is, because I know nothing about Vel'Koz, except for what his abilities look like, but other than that, I know absolutely nothing about him. But Kha'Zix seems to be doing a pretty good job so far. He took care of Jinx, took care of a bunch of enemies, so I think he's actually leading in kills, and, well, I mean, he's second for kills. He's got 4 kills, 2 deaths, and 3 assists. Meanwhile, Veigar is the one leading in kills with a 300 gold bounty, 5 kills, 1 assist, and 1 death. However, the enemy Shaco is also one to be worried about because he has 4 kills and 1 death, one of them being to Kha'Zix. And Urgot has not died a single time, but has killed 2 people. Meanwhile, Akali has died 3 times and killed 1 person with 2 assists. Jinx has died 6 times, however. So, and yeah, this is where we start to actually notice that Jinx is acting a little bit odd. She wastes both of her summoner spells, and she just runs up to turrets. Now, at first we were kind of wondering if she was feeding. Because, I mean, like, why wouldn't we? Because why the fuck would you do that? So yeah, Jinx was just really weird for a very good long while with this whole thing where she decides to feed, on what looks like on purpose, and, I did have an idea of, like, is she lagging? Well, not really, this is actually something I'm thinking of right now, but, like, could it have been lagging? But pretty sure it wasn't. It did not seem like it, but here comes Jinx again, only to do the exact same thing again and just get herself killed. I did decide to use my ult because I was kind of bored and I felt like, you know what, why not just ult her to death? And so I did, and I took the kill. So right now the stats are that Severe has her first kill, I have my first kill, and I have 3 assists to go along with it, and Severe has a whole bunch of minion kills to go to put her way ahead of Jinx, and if, well, she is a little behind Urgot, but, you know, that's something that could easily be fixed. I was thinking about backing, and I did. I don't know why I forgot about that. But anyway, I do back because I have a bunch of money that I'd like to spend, so I decide I'm gonna go ahead and spend a little bit of cash. And my Spell Thief's Edge has upgraded into a Frostfang, which upgrades from 8 ability power to 15 ability power, from 2 gold per 10 seconds to 3 gold per 10 seconds, from 50% base mana to 75 mana. I don't know how much health there was originally, but that is how it has been upgraded because I earned enough gold, and now I just have to earn 1,000 gold from this item to transform it into a Shard of True Ice. So currently I have 547 gold earned from this item, and I just need about 443 more. And now I have returned to lane, and because Severe has already backed, I decided why not go ahead and farm a little bit just for the fun of it, because I have been a little bit bored. So I'm just gonna take some of this gold myself, so don't mind if I do. Anyway, so I push the tower a little bit, and then I see Jinx over here, and decide to throw down my abilities and just go ahead and attack her a little bit, and ult her to death again. Yeah, I did get you, Jinx, and I'm pretty sure you were not even trying, so I am most certainly happy to punish you for not even trying. So, yeah, and besides, it is a ranked game, so that's kind of her fault for just feeding for her team. I do get hit by Shaco a little bit from the bushes, but I am very much trying to run away from him at this point, because he is damaging me very harshly. I miss both of my abilities on Shaco, but here comes a lot of trouble in the form of Akali. And, this Akali is just bad news. Like, she is just insane in this match, really. I mean, she's not the most insane, but she is insane. And she actually kills Kha'Zix, and, like, almost in one-shotting him. I'm actually probably lucky that she did not kill me in that instance, because she probably could have, especially with how low I am. But right now, because all we're dealing with is Vel'Koz, and now Jinx is here again to feed, we seriously have no idea why she's doing this. We honestly just don't. I have no explanation. This Jinx is probably a troll just trying to make things harder for her team. But here comes Shaco, and this time I do hit him with my abilities, and Shaco is very low. I put a black shield for Severe to protect her from Vel'Koz's spells, Shaco is also coming back into lane, and I definitely feel like I want to go after him, but I don't really see him, so we just kind of stay within our lane. And however, I do notice that Shaco's right over there because of the ward, but unbeknownst to me, he was actually right in front of me. I noticed that too late, and now both Severe and I are going after him, and I knock down Shaco with my Q, and just for a little bit of, just for fun, I put down a Tormented Shadow so that his body can continue to crumble under the power of my black magic. And then Jinx once again feeds because Jinx feels like being a troll, and none of us can explain why these kinds of people exist. Can anyone explain? Because I honestly cannot. Anyway, so we return to base, and I have fully upgraded my Dark Binding, which now gives me about 410 magic damage, but that's only because with the items that I currently have. It'll get much more deadly soon enough. And I do have my Tormented Shadow level to level 2, and it now deals 39 magic damage per second for every enemy that is on, for all enemies that are on it, and it will last for 5 seconds, so very nice. And it also works into the passive of the Soul Siphon. Morgana heals for 20% of the damage dealt by her abilities to champions, large minions, and medium or large jungle monsters. And I waited in the bottom lane for a bit. I was distracted by something, and I apologize for that. But then I realized that there is actually something going on in the mid lane. I think I was actually shaving during that time, so I was trying to deal with that as quickly as I possibly could, and that is definitely my bad on that. But I just kind of felt dirty, and I wanted to change that a little bit. Anyway, so I completely go after Vel'Koz, and I'm able to get him with both my Dark Binding and my Tormented Shadow. Meanwhile, the rest of the team goes after Shaco and kills him. However, I kind of see the carnage that went on with Garen being dead, Urgot being dead. I put down a ward for our jungle so that we can have a little bit of more vision. And then, as I am going for Vel'Koz, Akali comes in, and while I am focused on Vel'Koz, I kill him, and then Akali just swoops around me everywhere and just murders the shit out of me. And Severe almost had Akali there, but she is definitely going in for the pursuit, but that is not going to be the end of all of our troubles here, because Urgot is coming in. Severe does get Akali, but Severe is being hunted down by Urgot, and it just does not go well, and Urgot shuts Severe down, unfortunately. Kha'Zix is now trying to run away from Urgot, and Veigar trying to do whatever he possibly can to divert the trouble, but here I am back again, and with my build so far, I actually have gotten with the refillable potions a little bit more so I could save money on potions, because this is just going to refill whenever I go back to base. And Kha'Zix has just killed Urgot. Shaco kills Kha'Zix, however, and the enemy basically has our jungle under their control. As for my build, I still have Frostbang, but I also have the Fiendish Code, which gives me 35 ability power and 10 ability haste. Which is meant to go into my starter item, which you've probably seen before, but I will introduce it again because I forgot its name somehow, even though I use it in, like, all of my Morgana builds. But anyway, Veigar is going up against Shaco, but I don't really notice him because he was invisible to me. I basic damage Shaco, and I am basically just focusing down on Shaco until my ultimate goes off, which I was able to stand around him for about 5 seconds, and he was binded with extra damage, but yeah. But Kha'Zix comes in to finish the job that I have started. However, he did kind of go the wrong way. But only then does he realize where Shaco is, and he's almost to safety. I could have sworn oh wait, maybe. I'm pretty sure Kha'Zix did finish off Shaco, I think. But yeah, it looks like he... Let's actually take a look over there. Nope, Shaco did in fact still live, so that was my bad on me. I thought that was the moment, and because of how things went in such a poor direction, I realized I was gonna just nope right on out of there. Be like, yeah, this ain't a good situation, I'm outie. But then then I decided to go help out Vaegr in the bottom lane against Shaco, since he's the only one we're dealing with. I go into jungle because I think about pursuit. Oh, no, wait, no. I see Urgot in our base, and I decide to go after him because things are not looking too good, so I'm gonna make sure he does not get to have, he does not get to get away empty-handed. Well, he didn't go away empty-handed. You know what I mean. I send out my Q, Tormented Shadow, and it was the Tormented Shadow that finishes him off while everybody else is just bursting him down. But it's just that little bit of damage from Tormented Shadow that gets me the kill on Urgot, and I know it's a bit trashy, but I just love when that happens, mostly because it just affects me feeling good about myself because I'm the one that gets the kill, even though other people did a bunch of damage. But hey, I did a bunch of damage too. It's just the killing blow was just a tiny burning damage while everybody else was just bursting at him in the moment. I know it's bad, but I know it's bullshit, but at the same time it's like, it's just so incredibly fun. But then I'm giving it a little bit of repayment through Vel'Koz. And Akali's given a little bit of harassment, and Garen apparently just feels like 1v3ing the enemy team. I have no idea. But anyway, Shaco kills Vaegr, and Garen does not seem like he's gonna be having a good time. He almost kills Shaco, however, so credit to that, but he did not succeed in that endeavor. Anyway, there we are. Liandry's Anguish. This is the mythical item I start off with every time. 80 ability power, 600 mana, 20 ability haste, and then there's Agony and Torment. Agony deal up to 12% bonus magic damage to champions based on the target's bonus health, maxed at 1250 bonus health. And then there's Torment. Dealing damage with abilities causes enemies to burn for 18 plus 1% max health magic damage per second for 4 seconds. Now, Akali here, she is just wrecking the place up as she has just taken down Kha'Zix, like, right there. And I feel like putting down a ward, but then Shaco gets out of his invisibility as he was right in front of me and kills me again. And Akali just not really giving a fuck as she gets bursted down by the turret, but at the same time, she kills Severe for her triple kill, only for her to get shut down by Severe through the form of After Death turret. So now Jinx actually seems like she's taking the game seriously and is actually contributing to her team, but I'm still kind of just like, why, Jinx, did you feel like fading for so long? She's still very underleveled in comparison to the rest of the team, and it's just, yeah, I just don't really have anything to say. But as you can see, my Tormented Shadow, very effective at this point, both with Liandry's Anguish, but also as well with the fact that it is level 3 at this point. It's very effective at clearing out some minions at this point. And also a very nice way of being able to harass some extra damage on champions, but more effectively for wave clearing, really. But yes. Anyway, so now we are trying to make our own advances against the enemy team. For all of the harassment they've dealt us, I tried to go after Shaco, but he already died, so I wasn't able to steal that kill. I'm sorry. Anyway, Shaco coming in, and for some reason, the Q did not hit him. But I was able to get a Tormented Shadow in order to lead up to Kha'Zix shutting down Shaco. So that worked pretty well for us in that instance. We do try to go after Akali because we feel she is a bit of a threat at this point. My Tormented Shadow adding more burning damage against Akali. But then here we have Urgot being killed by my Dark Binding, and I shut him down once again. So definitely feeling pretty good about all of these killings I am bringing upon these tank characters. Very fun to be able to have that sort of pride. That I am the one murdering and destroying all of these tanks. It's just beautiful. Mwah. Anyway, so how is my build looking? Other than the Liandry's Anguish, I also have the Ionian Boots of Lucidity, which gives me 20 ability haste and 45 movement speed. I go down to bottom lane in order to deal with Jinx because I kind of thought she was still in her in her feeding mode, but she wasn't. She is still under-leveled in comparison to me. But right now, I am kind of dealing with a bunch of, with a little bit of a health loss. Vhagar joins, but then Akali also decides to come join us in the fight. I use the ult on her, and Vhagar is the one that shuts her down, but hey, I helped out in dealing with her, so that's something. The red team, however, the enemy team does have another Infernal Dragon under their belt, unfortunately, so that makes their damage even more threatening. So, so far they have 2 of these Infernal Dragon Souls, and each of them provides a plus 4% attack damage and ability power, so not very fun for me. I would have much preferred if I got to use that, but no. The enemy team gets to have it, and I don't. I mean, I have the Cloud Dragon, which gives me plus 12 ultimate ability haste, so that's good. And a Mountain Drake, which gives plus 6% armor and magic resistance, but, you know, I would have preferred more for my damage, just saying. Anyway, so I use my Dark Biting on Shaco, and I get another assist, and I nearly died to Vel'Koz's ultimate. But with my Dark Shield, as well as my use of the Flash, I mean. I use the Flash in order to get away from his ultimate, and from that I barely survive. I use my Tormented Shadow to be able to take care of some minions, as well as get a little bit of damage on Urgot. I tried to bind him, but there was a small minion right in front of me that I didn't notice. I did Dark Bind another enemy, however. Used my ultimate ability on Akali. Akali kills me, but Kha'Zix is the one that deals the final blow on Akali. So it's a bit of a shared blow where I died to Akali, but she dies to one of my allies, so I take a little bit of solace in the fact that I was avenged right after I died. Anyway, so now things have changed a little bit with my build, where my starter item has upgraded from Frostfang to Shard of True Ice. And now it offers 40 ability power, 75 health, 100% base mana regen, 3 gold per 10 seconds, and it still gives me the wards. And I also now have the Morellonomicon, which gives me 80 ability power and 250 health. And also Affliction, dealing magic damage, applies 40% grievous wounds to enemy champions for 3 seconds. If the target is below 50% health, this effect is increased to 60% grievous health. Very effective for tanks, and also very effective for anyone with, like, any lifesteal. So obviously, with this team of very damage-dealing heroes and also quite a few tanks, it's very nice to have. Kha'Zix is able to kill Vel'Koz. I go after the furthest enemy, which is Shaco in that area, and Kha'Zix finishes off Shaco, and I go ahead and I take the kill on Urgot with a nice burst of Dark Binding. However, Akali comes in, and she tries to go ahead and use that little ability of hers so that she could freeze time a little bit and not get affected by anything, but because the entire team was waiting around here, she kind of had to know what was about to happen once that effect wore down. Especially starting off with my Tormented Shadows as a little bit of a welcome to Earth, bitch. Or I mean, welcome back to Earth, but you get it. Just basically a little bit of a Will Smith punch to the face before the barrage of nukes upon her. That's basically the way I am seeing it right now, and I love the image I put in my head. Anyway, so we are now in jungle as of right now, and I'm trying to do my actual support duty of trying to put down wards, as well as also look for enemy wards. I came a little bit late in realizing that this ward was here, but yeah, it disappears like soon after the Oracle is gone. So there's nothing I can really do with that when I cannot see it, because the Oracle is no longer in effect. However, all of my damaging abilities, Dark Binding and Tormented Shadow, are at full effect. Dark Binding currently with 531 magic damage being used, as well as Tormented Shadow being able to deal 88 magic damage per second for 5 seconds, as long as enemies are standing within the area of effect. And then I have the Black Shield with protecting for 315 magic damage. And as you can see, we're taking down Shaco's clone right there, and not realizing that was not the real Shaco. However, we do see Akali, and I miss my ability, and so does Vhagar, and It is, however, we are hunting her down, but Urgot is also there, but I get my Dark Binding on Akali as well as my Tormented Shadow, so she was only able to avoid so much, and I'm still just trying to wait on getting Akali, but she's already escaped, and now I'm trying to make my own escape from Urgot right there. Use my Dark Bindings on him and my Tormented Shadow, trying to escape. I was afraid Shaka was gonna get me, but Sever already got him for me. I helped Veigar escape by getting my Dark Binding Tormented Shadow combo on him, and I simply just wait around trying to make sure I do as much damage against him as possible. Severe doing the big amount of damage and ultimately just finishing off Urgot in that moment, and it is glorious. I mean, it would have been more glorious if he died to my dark magic, obviously, but you know, sometimes you just take what you get. Sometimes it's the dark magic, sometimes it's just the throwing of boomerangs? Bladed boomerangs? I don't know what Severe's weapon is. I honestly cannot identify it. It's a bladed frisbee disc thingy, something like that. I don't know. I cannot honestly answer that question without... Anyway, that's basically the situation we're in. Severe, however, is leading with the CS as well as in the kills, dealing, having 202 minion kills, 7 assists, 4 deaths, and 12 kills. Meanwhile, I have 7 kills, 5 deaths, but also 14 assists, so I think I'm doing a very good job at assisting. However, Akali is hunting us down a little bit, but here, once again, she is caught in a bit of a bind, one might say, by her own making. It's a shame it was not my Dark Binding, because that would have made that pun absolutely perfect. I missed my Dark Binding on Urgot, unfortunately, and I stay out of the way a little bit. Garen finishing off Urgot with his Divine Judgment. And now we're dealing with Vel'Koz, and but Akali's coming back for a little bit of fun, and she barely misses with her ability, and I tried to go for Vel'Koz, but it doesn't quite work. Shaco is right next to me, however, and I put down a shield out of panic, and I get a Dark Binding on Jinx, but because I'm at low health, I do not bother getting my Tormented Shadow combo down, so I just continue on running while also using my Tormented Shadow to farm some minions just because I feel like it, okay? Is it so wrong for the support to have a little bit of farm every once in a while? But then Shaco just kind of reminds me that, hey, I'm trying to run from people, so I go back to base so that I can heal up. Now then, with that, our build should have updated a little bit, and it did. I completely forgot to mention the blasting wand that you've seen a couple of times, which gives me 40 ability power, but that's basically all it does. I send down my Dark Binding and Tormented Shadow combo on Shaco. Kha'Zix, recognizing which one was the real one, finishes him off, and Akali soon after is finished. And I am the one that got the kill, because I'm amazing. Putting me at 8 kills, 5 deaths, and 16 assists. And as you may also notice, I have the Giant's Belt, which gives me 350 health, which is meant for one of my more later items, and you will see how awesome it is once we get to it. Urgot, however, is right there as we are trying to take the Baron Nashor, and I think about chasing him, but then I decide against it because I don't know if there's any traps I should be worried about, after all. But we kind of don't pursue the Baron Nashor because we thought there might be more people around, so we kind of don't want to deal with that, even though, as it turns out, we probably could have. And, yeah, so I just kind of take the opportunity to just ward around the area. But Garen decides he wants to go ahead and at least be around the Baron Nashor. I kind of want to be around the Baron Nashor because I'm wondering, like, hey, are we going to go for the Baron Nashor or are we not? We do, however, have an Infernal Drake soul, so that's very nice for us. We have a plus 4% attack damage and ability power for that, so that works for us. Akali is the first casualty in that conflict. She probably should have realized that as she is not actually doing as good as I thought she was in that match, as it turns out. I mean, she does do good, but through what I have been seeing through my perspective, once again, after the match, she has not actually been doing very well. Like, it's just like, I think the problem with Akali is that she keeps going in first when she really shouldn't be. I used my Dark Binding on Shaco's clone thinking he was the real one, but then only too late realizing, wait a minute, he's making a stupid move. I don't think that's what a player would do. I send out my Dark Binding and finish him off with my Tormented Shadows, and I finish off Urgot, getting another kill for moi because I am Morgana and I am amazing as a damage support, and I just love doing the bursty mage shit. I missed both of my abilities on Shaco, with the Dark Binding going on his totem, and the Tormented Shadows only doing barely any damage. And I thought Shaco was going one direction, but I was wrong. However, here comes Akali, and this is something I should be incredibly worried about. I used my ultimate on her, but she eventually does get out of the ultimate range, so she was not going to be affected by the full effects of that ultimate. And that ultimate, if I had not introduced it before, is Soul Shackles. Morgana chains herself to nearby enemy champions, dealing 516 magic damage and slowing them by 20%. After 3 seconds, enemies unable to break the chains take an additional 516 magic damage and are stunned for 1.5 seconds, and literally the only way to break the chains is just by going out of range. While casting this ability, Morgana gains 55% movement speed towards enemies she has chained. And it is at this point, however, I decide to back because my health is a bit low and the enemy team is sort of circling around me. So I go ahead, head back to base, and just regroup and recuperate from there. And with that, I have updated my build to now having the Riley's Crystal Scepter, which gives 90 ability power, 350 health, and also the Rime Frost effect, which damage abilities slow enemies by 30% for 1 second. So whenever I send out my Tormented Shadow or my Dark Binding, it will slow them, although it won't really matter for the Dark Binding because it basically lasts that long anyway. But for the Tormented Shadow, as long as enemies are on it, it will slow them for an extra second. I tried to steal the dragon, but Kha'Zix was able to steal it first, so we were at least very good on that. And now we have we have the same amount of damage that we can affect on enemies, along with our armor as well as our ultimate ability haste. So very nice for us. I do miss my Dark Binding for Shaco, so that doesn't necessarily work on that end. But here comes Shaco, and he wants to go after me. And it's not a very happy time, but you know, Vhagar's had enough of Shaco's shit and just summons the Ethereal Realm's nuke upon her, or whatever that is. Point of the matter is, Vhagar nuked Shaco down with his magic something. His magic spell from the sky, an unholy divine nuke or something like that, I have no idea. But as you can see, with my Tormenting Shadows, you can notice that these enemies are being affected by the Rime Frost effect because they have a little bit of a cold effect on them. And yeah, so I am basically just farming these minions so they could stop damaging the inhibitor, but they destroy the inhibitor anyway, and I decide to back off a little bit. But I do get a rampage just from my my Tormented Shadows, because apparently Jinx decided to stay in that for some reason, even though she knew it was right there. But I guess she just wanted the inhibitor? I'm a bit confused, but you know what, I'll take the kill anyway. I totally 100% deserve it. Her Kha'Zix is really done with Kali and her bullshit, and she really wants to go after her. Vhagar wants to go after her. Everybody's just on her ass right now. Garen is reconnected. I didn't even know he disconnected, but I think I do remember that happened now. My Dark Binding hits Shaco's totem again. I think he is there, but he wasn't. However, Kha'Zix does get a Kali, and now we are simply just pushing up mid lane. However, all of our inhibitors are down, so it's not a very good situation for us. Meanwhile, the enemy team does have all of their inhibitors as well as a few turrets up. Meanwhile, we do not have any except for the 2 at our base. Kha'Zix is able to get the red buff, and we notice that Urgot is there. Severe is pushing bottom lane, and I use my Oracle Lens to see if there are any wards around that I can destroy or anything like that. But nope, that's not the case. I try to help Kha'Zix out with Urgot, send out my Dark Binding, but I miss. I do send out my Tormented Shadows, and it does do a little bit of damage with a little bit of Rime Frost effect. I decide to wait around in the bush, even though they probably know where I am. Or at least Urgot knew where I was a little bit, but I still hit him with my Tormented Shadow Dark Binding combo. Severe and I go directly after him. I missed my Dark Binding again, however, so not necessarily the best for me. And after that, there was nothing more that I could necessarily do, so I simply just back off along with Severe, and we decide instead of just trying to pick more fights, we're just gonna go ahead and push bottom lane a little bit more, or at least help out with that. Severe takes down the ranged minions, and then goes for the, and then we just kind of chase the big guys around. Meanwhile, I decide to stick around a little bit, send out my Dark Binding against one of the mech minions, and just try to help out with that. Send out my Dark Binding once again, and Tormented Shadows to at least hurry up the process of dealing with the minions and pushing the wave more. However, there's a lot going on in the mid lane, and I was actually told a little bit by Severe to back a little bit because they are pushing in the mid lane, but I was a bit too distracted with the pushing of this wave. And, yeah, after that wave, I decide, I noticed the chat, and I finally decide, okay, yeah, I should probably get back to base right now. And so I do, and, we update things a little bit with a needlessly large rod, which gives me 60 ability power, and it will be built into a big item that will be coming later. I send out my Dark Binding, does not hit anybody, but I am able to finish Urgot off with my ultimate, even if it was not the full effect of that said ultimate. And Severe is able to take care of Shaco, but she does also die to Shaco, thus giving her life to protect the base and the turrets. I go back to base a little bit just to be able to get a little bit of extra healing, even though it doesn't really do anything, but whatever. Meanwhile, I am now heading back into the fight, and I decide to push on forward and see if there's anything I can do in the mid lane, any enemies that are coming, and there are. So I decide to go ahead and clear this wave, along with Veigar's help. Akali is coming in from the back a little bit, and it's not necessarily a good situation with that in mind. But we are trying to push forward a little bit, but then we notice Akali coming in from behind, so we decide we should probably do something about that. And Akali decides to bullshit us with that hourglass of hers, so we're not a fan of that necessarily. And Kha'Zix just goes in and murders her, as well as Jinx. So, there goes that problem.
Blue team's turret has been destroyed.
However, we do lose a turret to Urgot, and he actually takes down both turrets. So now is the time that we decide to go back. So now things are really bad for us, because now we have absolutely no turrets to defend our Nexus, but we are able to hold off Urgot, and we now just really need a time where we can get rid of all the enemy champions, and that's the only way we could possibly get through this dire situation, where we have no defenses at all to speak of. So right now we just kind of have to play a little bit defensively. I notice Vel'Koz over here, and I decide I'm going to go ahead and say hi to him with the Tormented Shadows upon his minion wave. Kha'Zix comes by, but Vel'Koz is already long gone, and he's over near the Elder Dragon Pit. And Shaco was killed, but he is being resurrected, so, and Garen and Kha'Zix and Severe are already right over there to deal with him. But somehow he's still alive, so it falls to me to go ahead and take care of that, but I send down a Tormented Shadows to deal with the minion wave there instead. So it didn't fall to me, actually. I'm just being an idiot. However, Garen and Sever are both over at the Dragon Pit, and while they're actually, why don't I go ahead and just let's look at Kha'Zix. Yeah, so they take care of that. Jinx is dead, and now Akali is there, and she's trying to stake out and hide. Kha'Zix tries to run away because he's a bit low in health, and then I come in to try and help out with this situation. And I deal a Dark Binding as well as a Tormented Shadow combo on Urgot. Akali tries to run away, and she has some distance, but Kha'Zix is right on her heels, and he goes and aces her. And with that, we decide we're going to push mid lane since they're all dead at this point, and take the opportunity while we can. Garen, despite being the tank, is being a little bit of a pussy. Instead of going under the tower to deal with it, even with my black shield on him, he just decides to wuss out. But we are able to get rid of the mid turret, thus giving us some sense of advantage and balancing of the scales and their inhibitor. And so we try to clear this wave as fast as we possibly can to try and at least get a turret, but then we realize that all of our enemies have returned. I put down a Dark Binding on Shaco, as well as the Tormented Shadows, and all I'm trying to do is just try and get out of the situation, because there's no way we can win that conflict, and especially in the situation we're in. All of our inhibitors are up though, so we do at the very least not have to deal with the enemy minions being mech pilots or anything like that. However, I decided to put a little bit of vision here, and I try to take some healing, but that was a bad idea because Shaco was right there watching the whole thing, and he murders me. So not the smartest thing I have done. Garen is dealing with Jinx harassing him a lot, as it appears. Oh, I've been talking a lot. Okay, so anyway, yeah, I am definitely have a bit of a waiting period, as of right now. Veigar's now dealing with Shaco, and Veigar barely just makes it out by killing Shaco. But yeah, right now I have 30 seconds until I respawn into the game, so yeah, that death really did not help me out. I am trying to give some sort of idea of like what's going on, but the enemies are over at the Elder Drake, and they're gathering around that. The Kha'Zix and Severe are there to make sure that they can take care of the Drake themselves. Severe notices that Akali is right in that bush. Not entirely sure how, but she does deal a nice bit of damage against her. And here I am, back again. But instead of looking through my perspective, let's look through Severe's perspective a little bit, since she's in the thick of the fight, as well as Kha'Zix. And Kha'Zix nearly kills Akali, but Severe does kill Urgot, and then kills Akali, and now she has to deal with Vel'Koz. However, with the health comparison, things do not necessarily look too good. I try to go in and assist as best as I can, but yeah, it looks like Vel'Koz has run away, so I felt it was safe enough to at least look around, see if there are any wards around here, and so far I don't really see any. And instead of going for the Elder Dragon, we decide to go for the Baron Nashor, which is probably more effective at this point, so we decide to go for that. Severe and Veigar going after Baron Nashor, with me leading in with a Dark Binding, as well as the Tormented Shadows, and Garen coming in. I had to dodge the that ilk that was being thrown at me, because I don't want to have my outfit ruined. Just because I'm fallen does not mean my sense of fashion has to fall too. Anyway, so we have that taken care of, and we all return to base, and we now also have, let's see, there we go. That's what I was looking for. We now have the Horizon Focus, which gives 115 ability power, along with the Hyper Shot, damaging a champion with a non-targeted ability at over 700 range, or immobilizing them, reveals them, and increases their damage taken from you by 10% for 6 seconds. So, if I were to hit them with the Dark Binding, then that makes them even more affected by my attacks and my damage. So, if I put down a, say a Tormented Shadows, then it's only gonna make it hurt even more. And then we were able to take the Elder Dragon, and then we tried to chase after the Urgot, and Severe took down Jinx, and it is at this point that me and Veigar feel a bit confident in trying to make an offensive attack against the enemy. I take down Urgot, and then I have to deal with Vel'Koz. I put down a heal. Akali, however, has shut down Severe. I try to take down Shaco, and this is I ult him, but then he is resurrecting. I put down a Tormented Shout just to wait for him, burst him down with the Elder Dragon's Soul, and he is gone. And then we try to continue the assault, but unfortunately, Akali has just destroyed the Nexus as I got my double kill against Vel'Koz. So through a little bit of backdooring, Akali was able to win her team the victory, and only barely. Had that not happened, who knows what could have happened. Could that attack have succeeded? I have no idea. But the results are as they are, and we finished the game where Garen has 4 kills, 18 deaths, 9 assists, 20 for a Sever. She has 22 kills, 17 deaths, and 13 assists with 213 minion kills. Veigar has 15 kills, 15 deaths, and 22 assists with 312 minion kills. Oh no, I'm sorry. Kha'Zix had 22 kills, 17 deaths, and 13 assists. Severe, however, has 20 kills, 8 deaths, and 13 assists. And meanwhile, I sit with 14 kills, 6 deaths, and 23 assists with 94 minion kills. So, as a support, I think I did a pretty good job. All those kills, all those, oh no, wait. I died 6 times, actually, not 5 times. Sorry, my bad. But still, pretty stunning positive record. There actually was a match that came after this where I died only once. It was a very quick game. I was actually deciding, was I going to show that match or was I going to show this match? And I decided this match because it had a lot more intensity and a lot more action. The other one was just pretty short, especially considering the fact that that game had a lever. So I just kind of decided this one was the more entertaining one, and I was definitely right. Anyway, that is all for this match that we have here. The other one, however, was just sort of a... The other one was just sort of like, hey, I get to dominate people for a little bit, and I did. And I did carry the game because I had 6 kills, 1 death, and my AD carry actually was 1 kill behind me, so it was just one of those things. But yeah, anyway, that is this match, and that is going to be the League of Legends video for today, so I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Give a like button a stab if you did, subscribe if you want more Death in your life. Be sure the bell is tolling for thee, and until next time, rest in peace. Bye! Enjoyed today's video? Well, there's plenty more for you to enjoy here, and if you also want to support this small channel, then there is also my Ko-fi, which is available, as well as a Twitter thread that gives you my commissioning info, and if you'd like some traditional art or literature, feel free to DM me on Twitter. Thank you for enjoying the video and for your viewership.